My name is Ibrahim Musa Goni, the Conservator General of the National Park Service of Nigeria. The National Park Service has 7 units, 7 unit national parks. The 7 are located in 5 geographical zones of this country. It is only one geographical zone that does not have a national park, and that is the southeast zone that does not have a national park. In the south-south, we have 2 national parks. We have Cross River National Park and Cross River State.
Yeah.
Then we have Okomu National Park in Edo State.
Edo State.
In the northeast, we have 2 national parks. You have Chad Basin National Park spreading across 2 states, Borno and Yobe states.
Okay, sir.
Then we have Gashaka Gumti National Park, also spreading across 2 states, Taraba and Adamawa states. Then we have Kanji Lake National Park in the north central zone.
Okay.
Then we have Kamuku National Park in the northwestern zone. Then we have Old Oyo National Park in the southwestern zone. These are the spread of the national parks. And each of these national parks is headed by an equivalent of a director, which we call the Conservator of Park, just like the Commissioner of Police in the various states. Then all the conservators of park on daily basis report their activities to the Conservator General, who is always appointed by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
Yes.
While the conservators of parks are always appointed by the Conservator General. The 7 national parks constitute an area of 22,000 square kilometers. If you do the arithmetic, that is about 3.7% of the total land area of Nigeria.
Nigeria, wonderful.
Then Nigeria is a signatory to the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity.
Okay.
And based on that convention, Nigeria is supposed to have 25% of our land area under forest cover.
Forest cover.
So when we say forest cover, you should differentiate forest cover from vegetation cover. Forest cover where the landscape is dotted with trees. That is what we mean by forest cover. Not a landscape dotted by grasses, other yeah. So, but Nigeria is yet to attain that 25% of its land area. Currently, what we have is just about 7%.
7% now.
And with the national parks contributing 3.7, it means the other 3.3 is constituted by the other pockets of forest reserves and game reserves that are found in the country. And the country has about 1,129 forest reserves, about 30 game reserves, then 1 nature reserve, then 3 sanctuaries. So these are the number of protected areas that are constituting the country. The national parks are established. One, to domesticate that convention I have mentioned, the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. So Nigeria has domesticated that convention, meaning that Nigeria has joined the League of Nations that has sign that convention.
That's wonderful.
Then the national parks are also to serve as agents of rural development. Because one, wherever the national parks are located, you have to get engaged with other stakeholders, like the transporters, that is the road workers.
Yes.
Get engaged with people running hotels, businesses.
Yeah.
You also have to get engaged with different NGOs, CBOs, and of course even CSOs.
Okay.
Civil society organization, non-governmental organization, community-based organization. So these are the CBO, the community-based organization. So under that you have different categories of people. You have the Hunters Association, Timber Association, Fishermen Association, Wildlife Sellers Association, Wild Animal Sellers Association, that's who they call Bushmeat Sellers Association. All these people you have to engage with them because they are in the rural areas. So, and because of the national park, you realize that the government has to construct roads to link up the national parks. In some cases, government provides for airstrips to link up the national parks. In some cases where there are water transportation, government ensures that such water transport systems navigate to such national parks. That's why I said national parks are agents of
rural development.
Then for the hoteliers, when the tourists come, they must sleep in hotels. They must eat in restaurants. So that is now government rubbing shoulder with private entrepreneurs. That is PPP. The government cannot provide the hotels. It rather gives land to the private developers to build the hotels, provide the necessary infrastructure. And when the visitors come, they have a place to put their heads so that they can now visit the national park to do whatever business they want to do. So the national parks are also laboratories for research scientists, because in the management you have to know the resources you are managing. It's a researcher that will tell you the types of resources that are found in that place, what these resources can be used for. It is a researcher that will tell you all these things. So based on that, you find out that students who are on industrial work experience visit the national park for such activities. University people going in for BSc, first degree, second degree, PhD, and even professorial. Professorial seat undertake some of their research findings in the national parks. So from these findings, these scientific findings, the country benefits from the findings. One, the findings sometimes give warning to government. Maybe issues concerning the generation of heat, climate change. Issues concerning the generation of waste, pollution. Issue concerning erosion in some places. So from this research finding, we realize that scientists raise alarm.
The ecological problems.
And government pay attention by trying to ameliorate these ecological problems. So then come the issue of employment. Most of the national parks where they are located, 60 to 70% of the workers there are from the surrounding community. Between 50 and 60% of the job they carry out are done by some of the local contractors there. Once the contractor qualifies with the provisions of the Bureau of Public this BPP,
procurement.
Bureau of Public Procurement. So once he complies with that act, is eligible to bid for any job in any national park. Then the national parks also, like I've said, contribute a lot to the amelioration of climate change challenges. Because we realize that in carbon sequestration, it is the national park that have the trees that absorb the carbon dioxide. And gives out the oxygen which we breathe. So in such cases, you realize that when you are in areas that have national park, the serenity, as far as the air you breathe, when compared to the serenity of the air you breathe in cities, is quite different. And the animals, the plants provide medicine for the local people. The herbs, people fetch them, go for them, and try to make sure that they use them. So from this collection of herbs and even animal parts, like the fats of python, can be used for broken fractures. Yes. Then same thing, the fat of fishes are also good, good in trying to ameliorate pains, body pains, to relieve body pains. Then, in addition to all these things I've said, you also find that national parks play a vital role, which I've already mentioned, in tourism.
The tourism,
So, in the aspect of tourism, at least revenue is generated.
Exactly.
And hard currency, that is dollars, euro, and the rest of them. So most of these tourists that come with their foreign money. So that is where government will have that advantage of getting some of this foreign exchange and contributing to the revenue.
It's okay, sir. I think you've made my job so simple. But sir, I just want to ask a simple question. Since you came in as the Conservator General, can you tell us some of the things so far under your own leadership or the administration you have been able to put in place? Like,
I was appointed on April 10, 2017 by Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, UCF, and I formally resumed duty on 17th April.
The same
month. So, and since then, I tried to put in place those things that are not in shape. Put in shape those things that are not in shape. I try to improve on those things that are already in shape. And by this, I mean when I came in, there was approval for the service to be reorganized as a paramilitary organization.
But
the institutionalization of that paramilitary didn't take off until I came.
So
now you can see our officers wearing uniform. And we've also been given approval to carry light arms. So this we have started enforcing. We also realize that the aspect of community relation between the parks and the surrounding communities is not something that is encouraging, because there's a provision of the act that is supposed to be implemented, and that is the constitution of the local advisory committee. So before I came, most of these committees were not on ground. So they were only in, I think, just one national park. Even when they were where they are on ground, they are moribund. So we have to revive this local advisory committee to be able to improve our relationship with the communities. By improving the relationship, we minimize conflict. We minimize conflict. So that we have been able to do. And before I came, the governing board was dissolved, and through at least several reminders to government, the governing board was reconstituted. Now we have the governing board. And the governing board reduces bureaucracy.
Before.
So where you have to take the case to the minister, get all these things. So the governing board, you easily get some of this thing done. But particularly the constitution of the governing board has eased the issue of our promotion.
Okay, sir.
We have been able to regularly promote our staff for almost 3 years now.
Oh, wonderful.
And we have been able to achieve a lot through the governing board. We have acquired more vehicles.
It's okay.
We have trained more staff. We have also been able to open up collaboration with our sister organization, like the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, the Federal Road Safety Corps, the Director of State Services, the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Immigration Service, and Nigerian Customs and the Correctional Service. All these agencies do one thing or the other with us.
Okay.
Like the Federal Road Safety Corps assist us in tracking illegal wildlife movement along the roads when bushmeat is being hauled.
Yes.
So they are always on the road, and whenever there is any interception, they get us involved, and quickly the case is handed over to us. Same thing with the Nigerian Customs Service in the area of illegal wildlife trafficking from Nigeria to other countries or from other countries into Nigeria.
It happens.
The Nigerian Customs Service assist in trying to arrest this kind of illegal trafficking. Of recent, they have confiscated a lot of parrots and handed them over to us. So then the Nigerian Correctional Service, we use their facilities for our suspects. The Act provides that we can arrest and even prosecute our own case. But we have to detain them, we have to liaise with the correctional centers. So whenever our cases are taken to the court, the trial magistrate, if it is not for bail, then the trial magistrate sends that people. So with the cooperation we have the correctional service, they assist us. The Nigerian Immigration Service too, we are always engaged in cross-border patrols because most of the national, if not all, are located at the border between Nigeria and one country. Kainji is located at the border between Nigeria and Benin Republic. Chad Base is located at the border between Niger and Cameroon. Cross River is located at the border between Nigeria and Cameroon. Gashaka is located at the border between Nigeria and Cameroon. So we realize that even Oyo is located at the border between Nigeria and Togo. So we certainly need this collaboration to be able to at least minimize some of these illegal activities.
It's okay, sir. And again, in the bush and these guys are we're having security all over now. Security, what are the challenges now? I know what is happening now in the country, security here and there coming on in there. So how do you been able to handle that and how as at this moment?
Yes. The issue of security, which of course is an emerging trend in the country now, has not left the national park untouched. We are also experiencing our own bit of the insecurity, because we realize that I told you that there are about 1,129 forest reserves in this country. Most of these forest reserves are ungoverned. They are ungoverned. Where they are governed, they are not occupied by the right people. So, since they are not occupied by the right people, the wrong people will come and occupy them. That is what is happening as far as the issue of Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling is concerned. So, and this goes to the roles of the local and state governments, because in categorizing protected areas, forests and game reserves are are owned and managed by either states or local governments, whereas national parks are owned and managed by the federal government. These are the categories of protected area management. So the state governments and the local governments owning and managing these forest reserves and game reserves. In some states, the structure is not even there to manage them. The structure is not even there to manage them. So this gives the opportunity to the wrong people, like I've said,
The bandits.
to occupy such place and use it as safe haven for their victims. So, and that is the beginning of challenges, because these places remain vulnerable, certainly. And one other thing, most of these forest game reserves throughout the country, they are almost contiguous. As you are leaving one, you are going into the other. For example, you look at what is happening between Kaduna State, Zamfara State, Kebbi State, and Katsina State, and even Niger State. The forests there, the adjoining forests there are contiguous. When you leave Alawa in Niger State here, you go to Kamuku, which is a national park in Kaduna State. From Kamuku, you go to Koyambana in Zamfara State. From Zamfara State, you go to Kogo Forest Reserve in Katsina State. From that same Zamfara 2, you go to Kebbi State. There's an adjoining forest reserve there, Bena Forest Reserve. So that is why you can see that the bandits have taken advantage of this. But in order to minimize this challenge, the federal government, in its wisdom, has approached some of these state governments with a view to handing over some of these forest reserve and game reserve to it to be managed as national parks. So that is the reason in October last year, 2020, Mr. President gave approval to 10 new additional national parks. The act to establish this 10 new national parks will soon be placed before the National Assembly for approval, so that Mr. President can give accent to it. So, and these 10 national parks are located in the following states. You see, Bayelsa has 2. That is Aboy Forest Reserve and Edumen Forest Reserve in Bayelsa State. And this, of course, is the first time Nigeria will have a marine national park. So then Osun State has 1. That is Oba Hills Forest Reserve. Now to be upgraded to a national park. Katsina has 1. That is the Kogo Forest Reserve I mentioned. The federal government is taking it over to become a national park. Then in Niger, the Alawa Forest Reserve I mentioned, the federal government is taking it over to become a national park. Then in Kwara State, there is a Kampe Forest Reserve around Patigi, Lafiagi. The federal government is taking it over to become a national park. Then in Nasarawa State, there is Marai Forest Reserve. The federal government is taking it over to become a national park. Then in Plateau State, there is Pandam Game Reserve. The federal government is taking it over to become a national park. And also Jigawa, there is the Hadej and Unguru wetlands. The federal government is taking it over to become a national park. These are the 10 new national parks the federal government has created. Then the classification of the agency as a paramilitary organization has given us impetus to be able to carry at least light arms. And with the light arms, we are in a position to be able to at least regulate the activities of these bandits. Where we have challenges surpassing us, through their collaboration with other sister organizations like the military, the police, and the civil defense, where we have challenges surpassing us, the country has agreed, the president has agreed that we can have synergy with them to be able to work together and ensure that we neutralize this people.
Good.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think the question was where we have national park, except Cross River State, and I'm expecting that in this new national park you mentioned, maybe see some other southeast states. What really happened to that side? You see, they are not.
Yes, if you look at the constitution
Yes.
of 1979 as amended, there is the exclusive, those items that are on the exclusive list and those items that are on the concurrent list.
Yeah.
Anything concerning the federal government is on the exclusive list. Anything concerning states is on the concurrent list. The issues of forest reserve and game reserves are on the concurrent list, while the issue of national park is on the exclusive list. The federal government, and by virtue of the Land Use Act, federal government does not own land anywhere. Federal government does not own land anywhere. It is the state government that owns land. So, if the federal government wants to embark on a housing scheme in any state, the state should be willing to donate land. Where the state is not willing to donate land, the federal government cannot go and build a housing scheme in the air. So the same thing goes for national park. Wherever the federal government wants to establish a national park, that state must be willing to provide a land to be designated as a national park. Such land may be a forest reserve, it may be a game reserve, it may be a sanctuary, it may be whatever it is, a wildlife park, whatever it is. The state must be willing to say, federal government as a big brother, take this. We are ready to hand over this one to you so that you manage it. When such happens, all the abilities and responsibilities of the forest reserve or the game reserve becomes, the federal government takes them over. Like this 10 now, by the time they take off, the staff on ground automatically become federal government staff. Federal government now have to provide logistic vehicles to try and get entrepreneurs, business people that can establish hotels there by at least giving them concession. So this is why the southeast are not having a national park as now, because maybe you have on your name you appear to come from the southeast.
That's why I asked that question.
So the issue of land, the issue of ownership of land is something that is very difficult to. The issue of maybe the issue of having any how do I call it, no man's land in the southeast is a problem. So that is why most of the southeastern states are finding it difficult, if not impossible, to take a piece of land, hand over to the federal government to become a national park. But I think they are trying to look inward now so that they will be able to at least acquire some land, maybe for people. Then the government takes them over, pays them compensation, then hand over such lands to the federal government to be designated as national park, so that they too can key into this federal project of protected areas.
Okay, sir. I think before we move further, I think what will you be remembered for, sir? Can you let us know what will you be remembered for? That I have seen the area, though we'll still come to your profile anyway. From what will you be remembered for?
Well, people always have what you use in remembering me, and I'll be remembered for what I've been able to do, the life I have touched, the changes I have brought in any place, and the reforms I've also brought. So, and as far as the National Park Service is concerned, I think I'll be remembered for enforcing what I made on ground. That is the paramilitary classification of the National Park Service.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. The interest that I picked in all this explanation you have given to us, if you know very well, and I think you know, in Kenya, the most striking economic hub of Kenya is in areas of tourism, which you have mentioned in Nigeria. We have so much of that spread across the 5 geopolitical zones of the country. You know the revenue that the Kenyan government generates through these tourism potentials. From what you have mentioned, don't you think that Nigeria is even more blessed than Kenya? And why is it that we are not hearing much about Nigeria generating or the tourists from foreign countries? I am told that over 100 aircraft come to Kenya on daily basis. That means a lot of revenue for that government. Why is it that kind of thing not happening in Nigeria? When you mentioned all these potentials that Nigeria have.
Thank you very much. This is a very educating question, I would say.
Thank you, sir.
And I have answered this our question severally, in several places. But the reason is just because of Nigeria's oil. So because of the oil, we have decided not to look right or left or even backward. Unfortunately, we are just focused on that oil. And with the global changes now, people looking for clean energy, people looking for green resources, oil may, in the very near future, not be our focus. And if we continue to focus on it, we are going to have serious economic recession. We are in recession now because of oil in the international market. If oil were to be booming as high as it was in 2014, 2013, 2012, we will not be talking of economic recession biting hard on everybody. So, and because Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa do not focus on oil, even Rwanda that have just come out from war, Botswana, all these places, they are not focusing on oil. These countries are focusing on agriculture and tourism. Kenya, if you look at their tea, maize, that is what they focus on as far as farming is concerned. So, and same thing with Tanzania. So, because of that, they felt in order to be able to live a sustainable life, they have to develop their tourism sector. When I was talking, I mentioned something about one of our stakeholders, that is the Bush Meat Sellers Association. You can't get such association in Kenya. But as far as they are concerned, eating wild animals as bushmeat is a taboo.
Because it's not meant for that.
It's not meant for that. But in Nigeria, we believe the rural man here will tell you this thing is God provided. He must eat it. Not knowing that. And when they come to eat, the painful thing is when we come to eat this thing, we don't eat them sustainably. If we eat them sustainably, they will be there for us to even sustain us. Somebody goes for hunting, instead of killing an old animal, he goes and kills a female animal, young female animal, young male animal. So, who is going to produce for you tomorrow? The male has already finished its production.
Exactly.
So with proper guidance, you see, people can be guided on how to sustainably use these resources. So, and as far back as 1970, that was when Nigeria missed it. We missed it there. Because that time we had the opportunity to use the money from cocoa, to use the money from granite,
Yes,
our pyramids, to develop our tourism sector. But instead we didn't do that. We were busy developing oil wells. Allocating, sharing oil wells. That is where we missed it. If we have used the agric money from cocoa, granite, and even cotton to have developed our tourism sectors, give adequate protection to our game reserves and forest reserves, then provide roads into these places, provide airstrips into these places, acquire or even maintain our national carrier, that is the Nigerian Airways, buy light aircrafts that can land in rural areas. Within 1 hour, a tourist has visited from Abuja, a tourist has visited Kanji, do whatever he wants to do. Within 1 hour, he has landed. Go to the field for 3 hours. In the next 1 hour, he's gone back to Abuja. So the man running the aircraft, the airline gets his money. The travel agent gets his money. The tour operator gets his money. The hoteliers get their money. So you now see that it is the private sector that will now service the public sector. And that is what is happening in Kenya, like you have said, in Tanzania, in South Africa. Their tourism is not managed by government. It is managed by private entrepreneurs who have sunk in their money in these places. They go to US, they go to UK, they go to any part of this country to get the visitors to come. Package whatever they have there, or what the country has, go and sell them. But in our own case, our private entrepreneurs are not doing much to develop the tourism sector. And we all know that tourism is private sector driven. It cannot be public sector driven. So it is the private sector that has to wake up. The government has established a structure. That is the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation.
Yeah.
So it is up to this private sector to link up with this corporation. We identify the resources and let the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation package them for sale. But in some cases, you will find out that the private sector are there quarreling with the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation. Some, they have set the standard and regulation. Some are not ready to abide by the standard and regulation. That we cannot develop our private sector. So, in short, this is why Kenya, Tanzania, like you have said, are harvesting a lot of money from tourism activities. And tourism has even become one of those contributing to their gross domestic product. In Nigeria, tourism is yet to be part of our gross domestic product. It's yet.
Despite the resources
available. We have more plant diversity than Kenya does. We have more animal diversity than Kenya does.
In the forest zone, when we were coming here, we saw
settled land, uncultivated land. So in Kenya, you see some of these places cultivated with tea, maize. So just look at it, you see it is either tea or maize. So but here,
because the tourists will come, they need that tea.
Yes.
It's so another area.
The young man who is supposed to be in the rural area doing some farming, is in Abuja or Lagos sleeping under the bridge.
My God.
Looking for white collar job. Where he does not get the white collar job, he becomes a miscreant there. So it is, I think, time for our young men to stop this rural urban migration. let us all come back to the rural area. Engage ourselves. When you engage, the central bank has a lot of packages. Rice farming, what is anchor borrowers, all these things. These are packages. And these things are online. You can key into them. While you are sitting down in the comfort of your town, you just walk into UBA, your money is released. You get yourself engaged. But maybe the central bank will have to do a lot of sensitization for the youth to know all these things, that these facilities are available and they can be explored.
That's right. So, I think we have talking much. The question I want to answer it, I will ask what advice are you to advise the government in order or the youth concerning that's what I'm saying to say this. I think you have spoken much. I think we should be able to leave it at this point in time. But meanwhile, you didn't tell us your private life. We should be able to have another people like position we are learning. People who read would like to know some of the things. Your private provision, your education background. Maybe we will not have full knowledge, or you're going to give us a profile to that effect, or would like to know. It's a very good idea for us to know.
I am born in 1958. 3rd April 1958. I went to school after 7 years. Then you should be able to do like this because of my height. First year I attempted, I couldn't catch my ear like this, so I had to stay at home. So it was the next year, for 7 years.
I was able to reach here.
I was able to reach here. So it was then I started primary school. Professor on school, I think 68, almost 10 years after. So I left primary school in 1973. We were the first set to commence the 6-3-3-4 system. But instead of attending primary school up to class 7, my set terminated as
6 years.
6 years. So that's why I had the privilege of joining secondary school in 1973. And I left Oslo to graduate in 1978. I went to Borgu Local Education Authority here, primary school, New Musa. Though I started in Old Musa. I was born, like I said, in 1958 in Old Musa. Then started my primary school in 1968 in Old Busa. Before we now moved to that same 1968, there was a relocation because of the impoundment of the river to construct a dam. So Old Busa was relocated to New Busa. So I continued the primary one here, 1968. Then after the primary school, I got admission to the secondary school, in the community school here. So from 1973 to 1978. I had some deficiency. So I looked at them as deficiency, but based on what I want to become. So I felt I do not have mathematics, and I was science oriented. What I got was this P7 in mathematics, so I had to repeat. So that time, instead of that time the policy, I cannot stay in Bogusani school, I had to do another secondary school. I went to government secondary school, Conservator, to repeat secondary 5. So there, I still had that deficiency in maths. I could not make a credit in maths. So I still made a P7 in maths. So I had to write private GCE to make up. So that was where I was able to get credit. Then I wanted to be a medical doctor, but because of the parental background, I could not. So I went for an NCE course. Because NCE that time, you are given scholarship. You are even paid salary. So I went to College of Education Sokoto to read biology geography. That is for 1979. And I graduated from College of Education Sokoto in 1982. I went for my NYC in Ondo State, then Ondo State, 1982-83. Then when I came back, I took up appointment with Kanji Lake National Park here. Then it was the only national park
In Nigeria?
in Nigeria.
Wow.
1983. Because it was established in 1979, 4 years after I joined them. So I was, based on my NC, I was employed as a park superintendent. So I rose through the ranks. And when in 1991, Ibrahim established 5 new national parks to add to the existing national park. Nigeria had 6 national parks as of 1991. Then in 1999, before General Abdul Salam handed over to General Olusegun Obasanjo, he added 2 new national parks. That is Kamuku and Okomu in Edo states. So as of 1999, Nigeria had 8 national parks. So in establishing the 5 Babangida established, Bauchi State government handed over Yankari then. So Yankari was part of the first 6. Then Abdulsalam added 2, making 8. Then in 2004, the government and people of Bauchi State said they wanted their property back. You know, I told you in creating, the state must be willing. So anytime the state says it's no longer interested in giving you its property, you hand over. So in 2004, the Yankari people agitated and Bauchi was returned to them. That was why you can see that 1999 there was 8 national parks. 2004 the number reduced to 7 with the handing over back of Yankari to Bauchi State government. So like I said, I rose through the rank. Then in 1999, the same 1999, when Kamuku was established, before then, I became the head of department of ecology here in Kanji Lake National Park. So that is around 1998. 1999, I was appointed the first officer in charge to oversee the newly created national park in Kaduna State, that is Kamuku National Park. So I rose through there, become a principal officer, became a chief, and at the level of chief deputy director in Benungwari, I was transferred to Chad Basin National Park. While I was in Chad Basin National Park, that I became a substantive director. So I was in Chad Basin from 1999 to 2006. I was in Benungwari, that is Kamuku National State. 2006, I moved to Chad Basin National Park, and I left. I was transferred from Chad Basin National Park by Duguri in 2009 to Old Oyo National Park. So from 2009 to 2014, I was in charge of Old Oyo National Park as a director. In 2015, I was transferred and promoted from Old Oyo National Park to the headquarters. To that time, the approval I told you for the paramilitary was granted 2014. So our designations were changed. So I was appointed and promoted Assistant Conservator General and posted to Abuja, the park headquarters, to be in charge of ecology and resources management. Then 2016, 2017, Mr. President appointed me as the substantive Conservator General of the National Park Service. So briefly.
Thank you very much, sir. You've done enough. I think we will step you down. Do you have any regret in life? Any regrets in life, in the course of your, do you have any that you tell?
Well, for now, I think my regrets are my parents have not lived long enough
Sorry.
to see what I have become in life.
That is striking one.
That's
painful.
Yeah, that is my regret. They have labored
To bring you up.
to bring me up. So I wish God would have left them to see what I've become now. So I think for now that is my only regret.
Sorry, sir. Are you engaged in any game at all? So, as a way of socialization?
Yes.
Good.
My hobby is hiking. At least I hike. In the evening like this, wear my tennis shoe and I just walk around. 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. Then come back, have my shower. Then I read a lot. I like traveling.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We're very grateful for spending your time. You're about taking your siesta. We just interrupted that. We appreciate you. The job on your table is numerous. Covering all this is not an easy task, but we are praying that God will lead you for your successful. So maybe from here, well, who knows what next is going to happen. So we thank you very much. Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having
For the next edition of your magazine. The letter you have sent me, you want me to be part of that edition. So thank you very much for at least focusing on me.
Thank you, sir.
Please convey my appreciation to Saadat and the media organization as a whole. Yes, and whenever you need my assistance, my support, don't hesitate. My doors are open.
Thank you very much.
This I look at as a Borgu project.
Good.
So I don't have any reason not to support it.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure meeting you, sir.